The ancient Celtic warriors were a fierce and skilled fighting force, known for their indomitable spirit and unparalleled combat skills. These warriors were not just ordinary soldiers, they were legends in their own right, revered and feared across the lands. Renowned for their bravery and tactical prowess, they struck fear into the hearts of their enemies. Their battle cries echoed through the valleys, a chilling reminder of their relentless determination and unyielding courage. These warriors were more than just fighters, they were the defenders of their culture, their families, and their way of life. They stood as the bulwark against invaders, protecting their homes and loved ones with every ounce of their strength. Their stories have been passed down through generations, told and retold by the flickering light of campfires. These tales are not just about battles and victories, but also about the values and traditions that define their society. They're tales of courage, strength, and an unyielding spirit that continues to captivate us today. The legacy of these warriors lives on, immortalized in the songs and stories that celebrate their heroic deeds. Imagine a time long ago when the British Isles echoed with the clash of steel and the roar of battle. The air was thick with the scent of earth and sweat, and the ground trembled under the weight of charging warriors. The Celts, a diverse group of tribes with a shared heritage, dominated these lands. Each tribe had its own unique customs and traditions, yet they were united by a common bond of kinship and loyalty. They were a force to be reckoned with, known for their ferocity in battle and their unwavering loyalty to their kin. Their enemies knew that to face the Celts was to face a storm of unrelenting power and determination. These warriors were not weekend hobbyists. They were born into a life of combat, with their training beginning at a young age. From the moment they could hold a weapon, they were taught the art of war. They dedicated their lives to the art of war, honing their skills from a young age. Every day was a test of their endurance, strength, and tactical acumen. Their training was rigorous, designed to push them to their limits and forge them into unbreakable warriors. They practiced tirelessly, perfecting their techniques and building their resilience. They were masters of both strategy and brute force, able to adapt to any situation on the battlefield. Whether it was a full-scale invasion or a skirmish in the woods, the Celtic warriors were always prepared, always ready to defend their land and their people. Let's talk fashion, Celtic warrior style. The Celts were not just fierce fighters, they were also masters of making a statement with their appearance. These guys didn't just show up to battle in their everyday clothes, they meticulously prepared their outfits to ensure they looked as formidable as they fought. They knew how to make an entrance. Imagine the sight of a horde of warriors, marching in unison, their armor gleaming in the sunlight, and their weapons at the ready. We're talking about intimidating helmets, often adorned with horns or elaborate crests, designed to strike fear into the hearts of their opponents. These helmets were not just for protection, they were a psychological weapon. But it wasn't just about looking scary. The Celts understood the importance of functionality in their battle gear. Their armor was as functional as it was fashionable. Each piece was designed to offer maximum protection while allowing for mobility. Chainmail crafted from interlocking metal rings provided protection from slashing swords and piercing spears. This intricate design was both a work of art and a lifesaver on the battlefield. Some warriors even wore armor made from leather, hardened by a special process to make it surprisingly tough. This leather armor was lighter than metal, offering a balance between protection and agility. And let's not forget the iconic Celtic shield. These shields were not just defensive tools, they were a symbol of the warrior's identity and prowess. These large, round shields, often made of wood and reinforced with metal, were essential for deflecting blows and protecting the warrior in the heat of battle. The craftsmanship involved in making these shields was remarkable. They were more than just defensive tools though. The Celts were innovative in their use of shields. The Celts were masters of using their shields offensively, bashing their opponents with them or using them to create openings for attack. This dual-purpose use of the shield made it an indispensable part of their arsenal, showcasing their strategic brilliance in combat. The Celts weren't just a bunch of individual warriors running around causing chaos, though they were pretty good at that too. They were a complex and highly organized society with a deep sense of community and loyalty. Their way of life was deeply intertwined with their environment, and they had a profound respect for nature and the land they lived on. They were organized into tribes, each with its own territory, laws, and customs. These tribes were not just random groups of people, they were tightly knit communities with a strong sense of identity and belonging. Each tribe had its own unique traditions, rituals, and social structures that defined their way of life. These tribes were led by powerful chieftains, who commanded the loyalty of their warriors and led them in times of war. The chieftains were not just military leaders, they were also the political and spiritual heads of their tribes. They were responsible for maintaining the tribe's traditions, making important decisions, and ensuring the well-being of their people. When it came to battle, the Celts were masters of adaptability. They were not bound by rigid military doctrines or strategies. Instead, they were highly flexible and could quickly change their tactics to suit the situation at hand. This adaptability made them formidable opponents on the battlefield. They didn't rely on one single tactic. Instead, they used a variety of formations and strategies, depending on the enemy they were facing and the terrain of the battlefield. Whether it was open plains, dense forests, or rugged hills, the Celts knew how to use the landscape to their advantage. Sometimes they charged head-on, a wave of screaming warriors determined to crush their enemies. This direct approach was often used to intimidate and overwhelm their opponents with sheer ferocity and numbers. Other times they used cunning ambushes, disappearing into the forests and hills only to reappear when their enemies least expected it. These surprise attacks were designed to catch their foes off guard and create chaos and confusion in their ranks. And let's not forget those chariots. The Celts were known for their skillful use of chariots in battle, which added a whole new dimension to their warfare tactics. These weren't your average grocery getters. Celtic chariots were war machines, intricately designed and built for speed and maneuverability. They were a symbol of power and prestige, often adorned with elaborate decorations and symbols. Celtic chariots were war machines, driven at breakneck speeds by skilled charioteers. These charioteers were highly trained and could navigate the roughest terrains with ease, making them a formidable force on the battlefield. Warriors would ride on the chariots, raining down javelins and arrows on their enemies before charging into close combat. This combination of ranged and melee attacks made the chariots a versatile and deadly weapon in the Celtic arsenal. Talk about a grand entrance. The sight of a Celtic chariot charge was enough to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. It was a display of power, speed, and tactical brilliance that showcased the Celts' mastery of warfare. The Celtic warriors weren't afraid of a challenge. In fact, they seemed to relish it. And what bigger challenge than taking on the mighty Roman Empire? The Romans, with their disciplined legions and dreams of conquest, had set their sights on the Celtic lands. Big mistake. The clashes between the Celts and the Romans were legendary, the stuff of epic poems and fireside stories. The Roman legions, with their standardized equipment and disciplined formations, were a formidable force, but they had never encountered anything like the ferocity and unpredictability of the Celtic warriors. The Celts fought like wolves, using their knowledge of the terrain to their advantage and exploiting any weaknesses in the Roman ranks. They weren't afraid to take risks, to launch daring raids and surprise attacks. The Romans might have had superior numbers and discipline, but the Celts had something else: the element of surprise and a whole lot of heart. The Celtic warriors were not just fierce fighters but also skilled artists. Their intricate metalwork, detailed carvings, and vibrant textiles reveal a culture that valued beauty and craftsmanship. These artistic expressions were not merely decorative, they held deep symbolic meanings and were often used in rituals and ceremonies. The artistry of the Celts is a testament to their sophisticated and multifaceted society. Their legacy lives on through the artifacts that continue to inspire and captivate us today. Celtic women warriors were fierce and formidable, often fighting alongside men in battles. They were known for their bravery and skill, wielding weapons with remarkable proficiency. These women stood as equals, embodying the spirit of the Celtic warrior tradition. Celtic weaponry was both practical and symbolic. Warriors wielded swords, spears, and shields, each crafted with intricate designs that reflected their culture. The craftsmanship of these weapons was unparalleled, combining functionality with artistry. The weapons were not just tools of war but also symbols of status and identity. The appearance of a Celtic warrior was striking and distinctive. They often wore brightly colored tunics and cloaks, adorned with intricate patterns. Their hair was styled in elaborate fashions, sometimes dyed or braided. Warriors also wore jewelry, such as torques and armlets, which signified their rank and achievements. This unique look was designed to intimidate foes and inspire allies. The legacy of the Celtic warriors endures to this day. Their stories of bravery and resilience continue to inspire and captivate. The influence of their culture can be seen in modern art, literature, and even military traditions. The spirit of the Celtic warrior lives on, reminding us of a time when courage and honor were paramount.